Hey everyone, Wanderbot here, and welcome back to Cavern Kings. So, I'm gonna bring this series back for a little while, though it's kinda gonna be all over the place. So first and foremost, Dalmanius, if you're watching this, online co-op is not in the game yet, unfortunately. Now, we're gonna be playing the arena. Who are we gonna play as? We're gonna play as Alien, for a very specific reason. Saw Driver Jackhammer. So this is the new arena. Actually looks fairly nice. Yep, the volume control does, in fact, scale both the music and the sound effects. I was really hoping that it would just scale one versus the other. Doesn't work that way. Okay, so this is the new arena. If you notice, it's no longer indestructible. It is now filled with leaf blocks and destructible stone that doesn't come back. This is very, very bad. You know, why is it so bad? This level has an extreme tendency to explode. Constantly. I mean, there's a bomb over there. Luckily, there's a bunch of leaf blocks already pre-existing in the level. So, it makes it a little bit easier, but notice that bomb there? There goes that part. I realize, yes, you can pick up bombs now. However, I'm not going to be able to pick them all up. In fact, I only just realized that I could pick it up and then blew myself up partially as a result. Kind of sucks. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure if I like the new arena. I like where they're going with it. The idea behind it is actually really cool. The concept of being able to the concept of being able to like fight in an arena that is constantly self-destructing is actually really cool. And like, I dig it, but I think it needs some more thought. I'm not sure what the like solution would be apart from like, oh, yeah, that liar's no good. I forgot what the liar did, but like if you notice the top section, which I was kind of bouncing around on earlier, is almost completely destroyed already. This isn't necessarily like that big of a deal, but it does make my job a lot harder because now I've got a lot less room to maneuver on. Same thing with like this section down here. This is, I mean, we've only got a little bit of grass. One wrong, like, dig from me or an explosive enemy, and I'm in trouble. Again, it's not terrible, but I think it needs something else. Honestly, as far as I'm concerned, what I think the arena needs is poke floats. I don't know if any of you guys, I assume many of you people watching this have played Super Smash Bros. Melee along the way. Or at least have heard of the stage poke floats. Well, I guess you probably wouldn't if you'd never played Melee. But Smash Bros. Melee had a level that was constantly changing. Ah, crap, we're not getting that chest. It's gone. Down into the spikes it goes. But so poke floats was effectively a shifting arena environment where you'd fight, you know, other players in. As is, you know, that's how Smash Brothers works, in general, I guess. I don't think I need to explain the basics of Smash Brothers. To, get my point across here. But effectively, you know, it was a really cool, interesting, it was a really dynamic level. And it had, like, a lot of neat, dynamic gameplay, including, like, proper positioning and, like, effectively it was kind of this weird mobile game, King of the Hill situation. We just did not have enough health there. The new health regen mechanics are particularly destructive for the arena, and that's part of the reason why I don't like the current setup. Let's go with the shovel. We need the extra firepower. I think Cavern Kings, if it had a poke float style arena, where like you're still on the stage and it's still infinite, but like the stage shifts, so like platforms will drop out and like move around and like different things will happen. I think that would be so much better and so much more interesting too. Than, you know, bombs. I do dig the fact that you can pick up bombs now. That's a really nice feature. But, I mean, eventually this stage, no matter how much I try and, like, protect it, is just going to be a mess of leaf blocks and that's it. And that's not good. It's not. And it's gonna make playing in the arena really hard to the point where, like, good luck ever unlocking the shark. I've lucked out, I've already got him done. And maybe they've, like, slackened it out a little bit. But, It's going to be a rough experience the entire way through. And I really wish those bombs would actually explode on contact or something like that. It's kind of a shame that they don't. I'm digging the saw blade, though. The new saw blade mechanics with the knockback is actually pretty nuts. Alright. We need this cash, though. We're sitting on a number of chests. And I want to avoid making them drop into the void. Also, damn it. Didn't even notice the bomb up there. I was too focused on killing these guys. Also, I'm going to say right now that the shovel's actually a really bad idea for this level, if only because... Crap. The shovel's a terrible idea just because it digs out the stage too well, and it doesn't keep you in the air, which is more important. The damage is nice, but unless you're used... I don't know. Maybe. It kind of depends. Okay, did we get anything good? It's okay. It could be better, it could be worse. I don't know, maybe getting the shark is feasible, it's just a pain in the butt. But, I don't know. Ultimately, I think the permanently destroyed arena feature is going to get really, really frustrating for anybody that wants to have it a run longer than a little while. Ah, son of a bitch. I was really hoping that I'd be able to huck it up and hit the enemy with it. I forgot, they don't explode on contact. I just mentioned that they don't explode on contact, and my brain is just like, Herder, you should try it again, just in case you were wrong the first time. I was not wrong the first time, and it did not end well for me. Damn. There goes the remaining non-leafy platforms. Oh well. I don't know. I find the music in the arena also it loops weirdly. It just like kind of plays the loop for a little while, then switches to something else. I guess that's kind of how this game works though, because normally it's supposed to switch the music whenever you switch stages. But since it's not... Crap. Since I'm not switching stages here, go figure it's not going to do that. I am playing as Alien here, right? Yes. Okay, for a second I thought I was playing as Rex, and I was just like, what? How'd this happen? Well, they're gone. I guess, you know what? Okay. Bit of a benefit to this that I didn't think about. If everything is leaf blocks, I can just dump it into the ground. So if I'm ever, like, overwhelmed by, like, enemies, I can just knock them into a pit. And not worry about it. Okay. So I guess that is actually a major benefit. I guess I really just think maybe what the arena needs is just like every minute or so you get like a pause, or maybe like out at the 5-minute mark, a pause, and you can pick any upgrade you want from, like, you know, maybe the first is like one pool and then the next pool or something like that. Just so it's like, I could get extra jumps. Because this is going to be nightmarish without more jumps along the way. We're also hitting some pretty bad slowdowns already. I was floored. Or I am floored. I was expecting a lot... Crap. What? Whatever. Okay. That is the arena. Yeah, so that said 4 minutes, but... it was definitely in there for longer, at least as far as the recording goes. Their performance was something else. Okay, so let's just do a regular run. Alien, Jackhammer, Saw Driver. Go from there. So I like it, but I don't like it. I feel like it needs some more like permanent platforms, or maybe like Terraria-style platforms that you can like jump through but still stand on. That would actually be really nice. But I feel like the stage design for the arena should almost, like, take some really heavy pages out of the Smash Bros. Book and just do that. Or something. I don't know. It's hard to say, but it's... I don't expect me to be doing too much arena for a while, just because... that's nonsense? I don't know. I made it 4 minutes in there. I feel like they made progress with it. Because it is definitely a lot more risky for environmental reasons than it used to be. Like, way more than it used to be. I just can't see myself actually doing nearly as well as I used to in the arena, which, to be fair, I always did way too well in the arena. Like, it was kind of nonsense how powerful I could get. But at the same time, I don't know. I feel like at that point, like, getting that far is just actually impossible, as opposed to just like, I'm not going to be able to get through that, am I? I don't have the range on the jackhammer here. Maybe I'm just complaining for the sake of complaining because it's harder and, you know, I should shut up about it. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I guess it's just one of those where it's like, I look at that and I'm like, I'm not sure if this is going to fulfill my fun, like, quota. The minimum requirement of fun for me to get through that area. And, like, yeah, there's such a thing as, like, getting salty but still having a good time. But I get the feeling I'm just gonna get cranky if I do that for too long. Oh well. Whatever. The main game is still fun, and I love the new knockback mechanics. They make things quite entertaining. I'm also, I really love Alien. I want to say he's my favorite character. Favorite, just, like, baseline character in the game. Mishka's really fun, but I don't know about... Mishka's really fun, but Mishka's, like, really, really dangerous and inconsistent to use. I like the idea of Rex, but using him is always such a mess. I would love Android if Android looked cooler. He doesn't, or she doesn't, and it's just like, bleh. Don't like it. I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about stuff. People were saying that they missed me doing rantisodes with Cavern Kings. And I'm gonna be totally honest, like, I was starting to actually hit kind of the end of my rope. I was starting, not the end of my rope, but I was starting to hit kind of the end of, like, things that I could think of that I could talk about. I'm sure there's an infinite number of things I can talk about. Let's talk about, like, kind of current events or whatever. Seeing as, you know, I don't do, like, update videos, and I really should. I'm not entirely sure how I should do it, how I want to do it. And, like, I don't want to force people to watch a game that they don't want to watch, to get this across, but I find I'm a lot better at doing, like, update videos and talking about current things in my life when I'm playing a game. In fact, I find I'm a lot better at doing anything, you know, communication-wise, when I'm playing a game. Otherwise, I get, like, really antsy. For example, Shell always gets mad at me. Shell's my fiancée, if you're new to the channel and haven't seen her participate. But she always gets annoyed at me because I'm always multitasking. There's never a time where we can just sit on Skype and talk to each other for, you know, hours on end without me, like, pulling out a game and playing something. And I realize this is, like, actually kind of, well, this is fairly disrespectful, and, like, you know, I shouldn't do it, but at the same time, otherwise, I can't focus on the conversation at all. I end up actually feeling just, like, uncomfortable and antsy, and, like, I start, like, just wildly looking around for something to do, something to use my hands on. You know, like, idle hands. I cannot have idle hands. And I think part of it is because, like, I'm a serious workaholic, to the point where it's, like, actually pretty unhealthy. It kind of depends on your perspective there. But, you know, I'm such a serious workaholic that, you know, I'm not used to being idle. The only times I'm idle is when I'm sleeping, and even then, usually I have, like, a book. I fall asleep with a book in my hand. Like, I've been doing that recently. Which has actually been really nice, because, all throughout college, I read, like, maybe a grand total of, like, 4 novels, and it was killing me. So, like, by the time I was done with college, I just had barely read anything apart from, like, textbooks and the odd required reading. So recently, you know, I've been reading a bunch of... I went on a major Star Wars bender, you know, knowing that, Star Wars Episode 7 is coming out. So, so I read, like, a ton of Star Wars books, even though, like, 90% of them aren't canon anymore. They were still fun to read, and a lot of the details in them are still canon, or at least going to be remotely. And I'm really hoping, as part of the new Star Wars mythos, that, was it Zinj? No, it's not Zinj. It's, crap. The Chiss, Grand Moff, whatever his name is. Oh, nope. I had it and I lost it. There's a specific trilogy of Star Wars books that I always considered, that a lot of people consider to be, like, absolute masterworks, and I can't exactly remember, but effectively it's one of the Imperial admirals from like kind of the Outer Rim. You know, he was exiled there because he wasn't human, and of course the Emperor is kind of a racist dillhole. Go figure. But so he was exiled there to like deal with, you know, whatever. And he turns out he's effectively like a tactical genius, and part of the other reason why he was exiled there was because he was like considered a fairly substantial political rival for most of the other Moffs, and also, you know, Palpatine himself, even though he didn't really have a whole lot of like imperial aspirations. Was it heir to the Empire? I don't know. Thrawn! There we go. Admiral Thrawn. The Thrawn trilogy. So, Thrawn was really good, and honestly, if you want to get into Star Wars, regardless of, like, the canonness of the book or not, I would highly recommend getting into that series. You could generally kind of avoid everything else. I really like the X-Wing series, but the Thrawn trilogy is absolutely worth reading. I mean, it has a lot of the, like, basic characters, you know, Luke, Leia, whatever, but I felt like it portrayed much of the universe particularly well, and it actually spent a fair amount of time on the villains in a very good and interesting manner, which I appreciated a lot. Of course, you know, 90% of it is probably never going to see the light of cinema, but it's worth getting into. And, you know, very well written. It's got good sci-fi and whatnot. The other books are a little bit more hit and miss. I actually find myself disliking any of the books that involve, like, the original cast, you know, Luke, Leia, Han. Luke maybe a little bit more so, but, like, Leia and Han tend to get a little bit they all get boring. The problem is they were such limited characters. Like, anytime a major Star Wars character was featured in a book or, you know, a miniseries or whatever, they had, you know, 2-3 times as many writing staff members focused on this to, you know, make sure everything was canonical and consistent. So you wouldn't have, like, Luke going off and murdering somebody out of character or whatever. Unfortunately, this meant that pretty much all the time, all of the, like, you know, original cast was so limited in, like, what they could do or what they could say that they ended up just feeling like kind of cardboard cutouts of the original characters, and it was actually quite boring. It made me really sad because the movies did, you know, all of the characters particularly well. There are a couple of, like, weird deleted scenes that, if you can go back and find them, are terrifying, like a scene of Leia getting upset that Luke is running away to Dagobah fairly soon after, like, their kiss, before they realize they're siblings. And it's just like, this is creepy as hell. And she's also kind of a bitch. And you're like, huh, I'm glad they deleted this scene. That would have actually colored my opinions of her pretty substantially. You know, in a fairly negative light. Oh, where did I take damage? Oh, right, he shoots his own little things. Well, whatever. This boss does not deal with saw blades particularly well, especially if he stays on the bottom side of things. Yeah. Unfortunately, the upgrades are particularly garbage from this guy. Whatever. Okay, but yeah, so I never really liked the books that involved the main triumvirate of characters, plus, you know, associated others. But, you know, a lot of the other characters that most people don't know about, like the head of the Rogue Squadron. I don't know if people remember Rogue Squadron from the first movie, but they were the X-Wing pilots that flew against the Death Star the first time, and technically the second time, those, I don't think they were as highlighted. But the Rogue Squadron books are really well done, really funny, actually, to the point where, like, it is a recurring multi-book gag that they have a hyper-intelligent Ewok with a booster seat as one of their pilots. Which sounds kind of stupid, and it is, but, like, it's good stupid, and the way they integrate it was really well done. It's also, like, a 13-book series, so, you know, don't feel required to read all of them. I'd recommend maybe the first, like, 4. And they're pretty light reading. They're not, like, particularly heavy topics. It feels, I don't know, it's just easy to get into them. So I always appreciate reading them when I get the chance. And, like, I used to read, like, a shit ton of Star Wars books when I was, like, in middle school, and I'd read some of these books in the past, and I was like, man, I remember none of these details, or like I remembered half of them. I actually specifically had fused 2 main characters in my head, and I spent the entire time just being confused and flummoxed, really, of like, wait, who's this guy? But I thought the other guy did this, and I spent the entire time reading the book effectively sorting out my, like, this, like, weird identity crisis between character A and character B. And I don't want to spoil anything, even though these books have been out for a while. If I'm going to be recommending them to people, I probably shouldn't spoil them, as well. But, you know, I found myself just, like, almost uncomfortable reading it because it just was so counter my expectations. We need to start digging down now. That, like, I couldn't quite handle it. It was weird. It was fun, because the one thing I hate about things, like, I've got a fairly bad memory in a lot of cases, but I can remember, like, plot details particularly well, and unfortunately that means in a lot of cases I'm very good at, like, predicting plots for things. But give me enough time, and I will completely forget the plot about something. I can go back and reread or rewatch it, and it's like I'm watching it again for the first time. Feels really good. Okay, so maybe my memory isn't as good as I just advertised it as being. Whatever, who cares? But, I don't know. It was really fun rereading a book that I had already read and having a wildly new experience. I guess I already knew what the ending was. But let's be honest here, 90% of the time when you're reading any kind of book, you kind of know what the ending is going to be. It's very rare that I, like, come across a book or a movie that that actually surprises me somehow. One of the movies actually most recently, which I guess wasn't particularly recent after all, the last Pirates of the Caribbean movie, which is what, the Fountain of Youth related one, caught me completely off guard. You know what, do I spoil it, do I not? Effectively, at the end of the movie, this, like, minor faction that, like, was always kind of like the boogeyman for the entire thing, but was never actually, like, a real threat or character, rolls in and just, like, destroys the entire plot of the movie in, like, 30 seconds. And I just sat there just cracking up. And, like, I'm sorry if this does actually, like, spoil it for people. Oh, okay. That was some bad spikage. I'm noticing the levels have been particularly dark lately. Ooh. Totally buying a bunch of these Resplendent Vials. Can I afford another one? Probably not. Yeah. I go from not spoiling a book that I recommend to spoiling a movie that I guess I don't recommend. That's part of it. I don't really recommend watching the movie. I liked it, but that's because I'm a simple dude and I like most things, regardless if they're bad. Hell, I like Tales of Zestiria. I like a lot of the games that go on Steam that everybody else seems to hate. It's just like, I enjoyed that one. It was bad, but, like, there were things about it I could appreciate. And that's always just kind of like a consistent thing for me, that I have apparently very low standards. Oh, let's go for the health. The money's important, but survival and being able to fire, you know, sword lasers is probably more important. Given the situation, we should probably dig down. There we go. I don't know. Have we just spent like 90% of this run underwater? I feel like it. I mean, it makes it a little bit easier because we have unlimited jumps, but I already have like 5-6 jumps, so it's not the most important thing in the world. Oh, well. I like some clumps of iron just so I could do some more damage. Let's see. But yeah, current events. Oh, I got something that I've never actually used this phrase, but you know what really grinds my gears? I'm just yeah, whatever. And I don't mean to like call anybody out on this one. It happens. It's normal. It's life. The other day I was playing Kingdom. The other night, last night, really. I was playing Kingdom. Great game, by the way. Highly recommend it to everybody. But I was playing Kingdom, and a lot of people were giving me advice. Cool, whatever. Not to the point where, like, it was backseat gamey, but whatever. Like, it's hard to do. But, so I'm streaming Kingdom. And a lot of people were giving me conflicting advice. And it's interesting to run into that sort of thing. I was thinking about it. I was actually, like, you know, just lying in bed thinking about, like, How did I get such, like, such contrary advice left and right constantly? I couldn't quite wrap my head around it and figure out, like, why I was having this, like, disconnect between various people. And, you know, here I am trying to learn the game, and I've been told, you know, A, no, it's B, no, it's A, kind of back and forth for a while. And what I'm realizing is there's a lot of people that watch games that have never actually played the games themselves. And it's very easy to backseat game, you know, it's very easy to catch something that I miss. In fact, I would say that 90% of you see stuff that I've clearly missed, and, you know, very often I've been corrected as a result. Bedlam, for example. Anytime I play anything with any level of, like, tactical decision-making, I generally feel like I'm one of the biggest idiots in the world. By the, you know, general comment section and Twitch chat or whatever. And sure, whatever, that's just kind of an eventuality. God damn, how dark it is in here. That's just an eventuality with the medium and with that style of game that, of course, people can pause, roll back, make decisions. And I'm gonna be totally frank, I'm not exactly a very, I'm not a very patient dude. I can be a very patient dude, but when I'm recording, I don't think. My brain is busy. My brain is busy rendering out audio. This commentary. That's a lot of candy corn. It's Halloween come early, and it's actually lagging the game a little bit. I really, really wish I had a black hole box right now, because that would be a lot of candy. We would have, like, turbo cavities. Ooh, Book of Secrets. I only need a little bit more to get another one. Good. But so, I was thinking about this, it's like, how are people giving me such incorrect advice? And, you know, obviously, I can't tell which one's which, so I had to make, like, educated decisions. Educated guesses. I had to make shit up as I went along. Figure out, you know, what advice here is actually viable, and in some cases, I picked the wrong advice. And it ended up ruining the run. Not single-handedly, but it definitely was one of the major contributions to it. And I was sitting there, you know, in bed afterwards thinking, like, how'd that happen? Like, how is this a thing? And I realized it's because, you know, a lot of people watch somebody else play it. And so instead of actually getting, like, the direct hands-on experience, they get secondary experience. Which, I mean, it's kind of like watching somebody else put together a car and then trying to teach somebody else how to put together a car. It doesn't work. And it's an interesting phenomenon that I hadn't thought of. Let's see if I can get that health. There we go. Yeah, unfortunately, this guy is hanging pretty far back here. I'm trying to avoid taking any damage so we can keep this sword business up. There it goes. Well, whatever. We win, and we get some beautiful, beautiful Dracul blood. Yay! But so, you know, it's very easy to go, say, watch Northern Lion, and then go give me advice on Binding of Isaac. Owing to, you know, whatever information you've absorbed from Northern Lion, or Bisnap. I'm gonna be honest, like, if you go watch Bisnap and then give me advice, you're probably actually going to be fairly accurate, just because that dude knows his shit. But, you know, conversely, say Northern Lion could be wrong about something. So let's rule out Bisnap here, just because I'm just gonna flat out assume he's probably right. And most people that watch him are probably going to get a fairly good handle on the information he's giving. That dude is didactic like nothing else. If a little dry. But, so, you know, it's very easy to move from, like, one content creator to the other, passing around knowledge. But secondhand knowledge, you know, of course, it's like playing telephone. You're gonna lose a detail. You're gonna miss something that they might have gotten, or, you know, might have missed themselves. And as a result, whatever information that gets transferred to me is inferior. Okay, that was close. I really shouldn't have been cutting it there, but, I mean, greed is good. We're swimming in money. So this is actually working out pretty well as far as runs go. Because we've got some built-in healing. We're finally running into the stone guys, but my damage isn't terrible. I'd like to get my hands on some black hole boxes and clumps of iron, but still. But yeah, so I was just sitting there like, in bed crabby. And then I realized, like, honestly, it's not anybody's fault. It's just kind of like the reality of the medium. And I'd never really thought about this before because, you know, of course a lot of people that watch, a lot of you guys, probably don't just watch me. Probably might not even play the games that I'm playing. Like, hell, like I was kind of saying at the beginning of this little rant, there's probably a fairly high likelihood that a number of you watching this video right now have never even touched Cavern Kings before, but you're just a fan of watching somebody else play it. And it'd be really interesting to actually put out like a straw poll. You know what, fuck it. I should be able to remember to put out a straw poll for this one. If you guys would actually be so kind as to fill it out, it'll be in the description below. And if I haven't put it out, please yell at me. Because I would actually like to hear how many people have, I would like to hear how many people have actually played this game versus just watched me play it. Because that is actually something that I don't think I have seen enough data on to really, like, get a handle on, like, whether or not, like, that's actually a thing. It must be a thing. Like, I've got to imagine stuff like, say, Five Nights at Freddy's, or The Beginner's Guide, or, I don't know. A lot of games, really. Anything with any level of story probably has a high, you know, watcher to actually player ratio. Or low? I don't know. Had the terminology on this one. I never took any level of statistics. But, you know, roguelikes. Binding of Isaac, for example. Probably most people that watch anybody play Binding of Isaac has played Binding of Isaac themselves. Just because that's kind of I'm not going to say an immersive game, but it's one of those where the culture behind it, or the game itself doesn't, I don't know. I've got to assume there are a lot of people that watch Northernlion, again, or Bisnap, that have never played Binding of Isaac before, but that boggles my mind a little bit. And it's an interesting question I don't have an answer for. I would love to know. I'd love it if I actually could interact with folks like Northernlion and actually, like, ask them to put up a poll like that. But I think I'm still too small for that sort of thing. Even though, like, compared to back when this series was in its heyday, I've grown, like, 3-4 times, give or take. I don't actually remember when I started the series. Suffice to say, it was a long time ago, and it went on hiatus for quite a while. And I'll probably bring it back. I don't know, this is really satisfying. It's just kind of a matter of, like, how do I handle my content from here? Yeah, that's been an interesting thing. I've run into some interesting issues since I threw this series on hiatus. For starters, I'd say the most impactful thing is that, you know, I've grown substantially since, you know, those days, since back in the day, since whenever. And, like, I would say stuff like Holy Potatoes Weapon Shop has been a major contributing factor to that. Vagante, this game, Catacomb Kids, which is good. You know, a lot of my favorite games to cover, I rank in and do well in. Disgaea, for example. I was terrified that my Disgaea series would be largely ignored and or disliked by people, but no, it turns out that it's one of my most popular series at this point in time. That Nice and Pen and Paper too. I should see if I rank in that. I hope I do. Because that's the sort of game I like playing. And, like, I'm not going to call Holy Potatoes a weapon shop like a fluke, or like something that I wouldn't play again. Hell, I'd totally play that again. But it's so hard to find, like, tycoon games that I specifically enjoy, that it's always a bit of an issue. Damn, those things explode forcefully. But, so... like, I've grown a lot, and as such, like, you guys, my audience, has changed in preference. So, you know, back in the day, I would cover a ton of roguelikes, and do particularly well. I mean, a year ago, I was leading really hard in Runers. I think this would be, like, pretty much... this would be getting close to the end of that series a year ago. But, you know, Runers was such a large part of my channel that, like... Do we buy more acid flasks? Or do we buy an... You know what? Let's buy more acid flasks. But that was such a popular series back in the day, and like, you know, that changed over to Vagante, that changed over to Catacomb Kids, this game, and stuff like that. But like more recently, stuff like Cryptark, nah, not a whole lot of viewership. And to be fair, I've been having some like crippling technical issues that definitely would like contribute. But I was floored at just how little interest there was compared to, you know, back in the day. Proportionally, that such a game was getting. And I was like, ah, man, why is this happening? And, I mean, for starters, there's school. Speaking of, I'm gonna be totally honest about this. For those of you in school, stay in school, keep doing your thing. Holy hell is it terrifying, though. When September rolls around, my metrics dropped by 20-30%. Like, you guys going away, you students that watch my stuff, I mean, my Twitch audience, I was pulling like 60-80 people late August. Now, I'm lucky if I get 50. That's nothing against you guys, and part of it is my schedule is terrible. I stream in an hour that nobody generally wants to watch, just because that I'm a night owl. I am an extreme night owl, and I love sleeping during the day. Okay, good. We're not dead yet. So this is definitely hairy. Okay. We're alive, though. Ow! He came out of nowhere. Okay, let's try and just recoup losses for a second. I got some healing here. Oh, we got a box. Good. I can work with this. But, like, so September rolled around and it's just like, this is really, really terrifying for everybody involved. For not just me, though. Like, I've got a bunch of YouTube friends and they're like, this is bad, right? This is like, well, not bad. This is like normal, right? Because here's the thing for me. I've been a big YouTuber for all of... I mean, depends on your definition. Honestly, I'd say I'm pretty small fry. I might be able to get some, like, some YouTubers, some bigger YouTubers to, like, contact me. But, you know, like, actively working with them would be largely impossible. I don't know, kind of depends. But I can have, like, semi, like, reasonable conversations with some people that, you know, I wasn't already, like, friends with beforehand. We gotta start digging down. I don't have any clumps of iron, so getting down here is a mess. But like I've been a reasonably sized channel for all of, you know, a couple months. And so as such, the concept of you know, the September school, like, view drop is such a bizarre thing for me. To the point where, like, is my, like, toxic beast thing, my parasite actually gonna do anything, or is he just gonna chill out? He's just gonna chill out. Alright, good for you, dude. I guess. Do we have any boxes around here, or are we still just kind of in the doghouse? There we go. Maybe he only moves if there's actually an enemy. We'll see. Okay. But yeah, the concept of, you know, the September view drop was alien to me, because I started 2 years and 2 months ago. Just shy of. And so, like, then views were low because I was tiny. Like, it didn't matter that people were in school or not, though it definitely did contribute to a lack of growth for quite a while. I don't like this place. It's full of nope. Okay, we need to start leaving. We'll start leaving soon. I'm gonna try and avoid getting totally screwed here. It's hard, though. Okay. These Titan bloodworms are painful. I guess it wasn't so bad just because I had so much lifesteal from that singular Dracula blood. Okay. Oh, crap, it's these things. Well, this is going to be interesting. You know, I have half a mind to just leave. You know what? Here's what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna make an exit. We're probably going to get dive bombed by a bunch of those guys. At least we can kind of recoup our losses a bit. Interesting, they still roll even when they don't have any spikes left. What a dickish little enemy. Alright, but yeah, so the concept of the September, you know, view drop is just like, am I like in a tailspin that I can't get out of? Is my like refusal to play games like Holy Potatoes, a weapon shop, you know, going to haunt me for the rest of my YouTube career? And I mean, to a degree it will, just because, you know, you get so many people come for one series, the likelihood that a lot of them are going to stick around drops. And that's normal. These things suck so hard. But I guess it's just kind of one of those, that's something you have to deal with on YouTube. You're not always going to get your way, and not all of your series are going to do as well as you'd like them to. Oh well. And, like, I'm definitely recovering. I'm definitely feeling a lot better about things. And part of it is I have... Oh, I don't... Have I ever actually talked about that on this? I don't know if I have. I suffer from some fairly bad... I'm not gonna say, like, seasonal... yeah, it's sort of seasonal depression. It's kind of this weird thing where the September to October months are particularly bad on me, like, emotionally. And you know what? I'm gonna say this flat out. I do not have it nearly as bad as some people. I had an ex-girlfriend that had incredibly debilitating depression to the point where I think it, you know, held her back and contributed to our relationship dissolving. And I think she's one of the ones that I didn't talk about as far as, that one Valentine's Day episode way back in the day. Oh well. But like, so whatever depression issues I have, for the most part, are negligible compared to people that, like, truly suffer from, like, you know, every day, every month of the year, type of depression. So, I'm not even going to try and claim, that I have particularly... I have a particularly rough time with it. Really just means I have an incredibly shitty September, October, no matter how good I have it. So, like, even last year when I was, like, ranking really high with, like, a number of games and, you know, doing well as a result, I still felt like I was a fraud and wasn't doing well, and, you know, everything kind of sucked. And that's kind of how, like, this... Let's see, let's use the swords don't light things up anymore. That's unfortunate. I guess we'll blow that up. Ah, we found the exit. Oh, and we found a key that we don't have to drag across the entire freaking map here. Unfortunately, it's directly above me. There we go. Okay, now let's go shopping. Now that we've got the entrance open and we're not going to get screwed. But so, you know, I don't have particularly bad seasonal depression or anything like that. But if you're somebody that does and, like, you haven't looked into it, or if you just feel... I mean, if you have depression, just talk to somebody and, like, you know, possibly seek... I'm not going to say medical treatment, just because not everybody responds well to it, but, you know, you're not alone. Seriously. Depression sucks, and, like, if you are in kind of your own personal echo chamber, it's bad. And the first thing I can say is go get some exercise. That is one of the largest contributing factors to my, my general, lack of mental health in certain cases. I try to be a fairly active dude, but like I said at the beginning of this video, or earlier in this video, I'm an extreme workaholic to the point where it's like, it's not easy for me to, how long is this episode? 44 minutes, jeez. I'm actually running out of time. I'm gonna be playing Divinity Original Sin tonight, and I gotta make it in time. But, you know, the fall rolls around, my allergies hit hard, you know, it always was the beginning of school, and gonna be honest, I've never had good starts in school. I always moved around constantly. So, like, September always meant, you know, effectively, oh, you get to be the outsider kid again for another, you know, 9 months. Before you get, you know, before summer happens, and then you can just kind of do your own thing where nobody will bother you. Not to mention school was always kind of really boring for me. I'm not gonna say I'm, like, the smartest kid ever, but I definitely, like, my education was obviously not meant for somebody like me. And so as such, like, primary school was kind of boring. And it never really stopped being boring. I tried to make it interesting, but, like, I was in AP classes and I was bored. It was bad. And to be fair, like, a number of them were topics that I just wasn't interested in. Like, I was in AP Chem, and I spent a lot of my time napping in class. I wasn't one of those guys, but I spent a lot of time napping in class. I think part of this is, like, I have extreme issues with insomnia. But, oh god, that is actually one of the worst things, and that's part of the reason why I'm nocturnal. I find I sleep a lot better if I, like, just kind of run myself to the bone, hence the workaholic thing, too. But, so, you know, in school, when you have to get up at, like, 5, 6 in the morning to go to class, and you're the kind of guy that, you know, is meant to go to bed at, like, 3 in the morning, the concept of, you know, going to bed, you know, super early to get up, you know, super early so you can go to school, like, it sucks. And gonna be honest, like, there's not really a whole lot of alternatives to this, apart from, like, maybe the weirdest private school I've never heard of. Oh, we can make it, Mr. Chest. Thank you. Okay, we almost didn't make it. That was definitely some risky greed business, I gotta say. But you know, so I by senior year I didn't care anymore. So I was actually starting to transition over to my, like, regular sleep schedule. Unfortunately, that meant I would get, you know, a grand total of maybe 3-4 hours of sleep at night, which was rough. But the alternative was getting maybe 6 hours of sleep and spending 4 hours a night lying in bed, staring at my ceiling, being like, I can't fall asleep yet, and I can't do anything. And so, like, I always consider college to have been a bit of a godsend, because except for the one time I had 8 AM classes, I pretty much was able to sleep when I wanted, you know, pick a schedule that actually worked for me, and it was definitely really good for, like, my motivations in life and my work ethic. We're probably gonna die here. Nope. Wow, that was close. Are we at the end? God, we must be close. I think we got one more after this. That barely did damage to me. I'm impressed. I think they nerfed this boss. Like, a lot. But no, school is always rough, and, like, I hated how, like, unmotivated I was, because I really am a hard worker. If I have something to work on, is that worth it? No. Whatever. I've got plenty of regeneration, so close enough. I wonder if these disappear after a while. Guess we'll find out. Yep, they do. Alright, good to know. But, like, I really am a hard worker, and being lazy is almost offensive to me. That's another rant topic that I don't know if I'll try and have time for it. Well, we got a spread shot. Unfortunately, I think we're only going to be able to buy one, if we're lucky. The price has gone up pretty substantially since. But, like, in any situation, if I'm presented with a person that, you know, is failing because of their own lack of motivation, it actually, like, bothers me on some intrinsic level. Okay, this is dumb. There we go, got it. It bothers me on some intrinsic level that said person is not... Damn it. Fuck. Oh, I did actually buy the spread shot. Oh well, that was a 40-minute run. Actually, it was a 50-minute run with the weird frame rate slowdown business. Anyway, that was pretty fun, especially with the lack. Oh man, if I had more clumps of iron, we actually probably would have been able to do that no problem. Anyway, let's finish that. So, like, whenever I was in school and I saw, I saw somebody complaining about, you know, they're doing so poorly in school, yet, you know, I see them on Facebook talking about all the parties they've been to, or the boys that they're going through, or the girlfriend that they've been doting on, or anything like that, and it's just like, man, here I am busting my ass all day long just so I can, you know, improve myself. And I see somebody complaining about it, it's just like, ooh, like, no matter what, I just, like, baseline in my head start hating them. And it's very hard to get past that. I still have that issue with YouTube. Which kind of sucks because, you know, I work harder than anybody else, so of course I hate everybody else now. I don't know. Anyway, that's enough of that. I am Cavern Kings out, but it was very satisfying nonetheless. So, I'll actually see you guys in the next episode. That was fun. I feel like they've changed a lot of things for the better, and it helps that RNGesus was, you know, driving a pretty smooth ride here. So, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.